Hi friends, I am Madhukarjun Rao Chunchu, lecturer in chemistry. Now we shall discuss about efflorescence and deliquescence. Before going to this, we must know about what is an hydrated salts. In some salts, each formula unit of the salt is associated with a fixed number of water molecules. Those are called hydrated salts. For example, blue vitriol, copper sulfate, pentahydrate. Each formula unit of copper sulfate consists of 5 water molecules. This is also known as blue vitriol. Similarly, ferrous sulfate, heptahydrate. It is also known as green vitriol. And next one, sodium carbonate, decahydrate. This is also known as washing soda. All these are examples for hydrated salts. These salts are not in wet condition. They are in dry condition because these water molecules are not in free state. They become the part of their crystal structure. Hence, they are not in wet condition. They are dry state, crystalline state. So, when these hydrated salts, when exposed to atmospheric air, loses water molecules either partially or completely, that phenomenon is called efflorescence. And those substances are called efflorescents. For example, take copper sulfate pentahydrate. Copper sulfate pentahydrate, a crystalline substance. This is when exposed to atmospheric air, partially loses to water molecules and becomes copper sulfate trihydrate, another crystal, along with loss of 2 water molecules which are in gaseous state. This is a reversible reaction and an equilibrium is established here. So, at certain temperature, the Kp value for this equilibrium is 1.086 into 10 to the power minus 4 atm square. So, in this reversible reaction, in forward reaction, copper sulfate pentahydrate loses water molecules, hence it is said to be efflorescent. Whereas in backward reaction, copper sulfate trihydrate absorbs water molecules. So, any substance which absorbs water molecules from its surroundings or in its vicinity is called a drying agent. So, here copper sulfate trihydrate, it absorbs water molecules and it is said to be a drying agent. Drying agent. And anhydrous copper calcium chloride is also another example for drying agent. They absorb moisture from their vicinity. So, those are called drying agents. These drying agents may be of 2 types. First one, deliquescent. Deliquescent. These substances absorb moisture from surroundings and change their physical state. They are called deliquescent substances. For example, sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide exists as white crystalline pellets. When you take them in atmospheric air, when they are exposed to atmospheric air, so they gradually absorb water molecules from atmospheric air and it changes to liquid state. So, finally, you can find a strain of liquid on the plate or where it is taken. So, these sodium hydroxide pellets have the property to absorb moisture from the atmospheric air and dissolve into that moisture. So those are called deliquescent substances. So these are water-soluble substances. These water-soluble substances, when absorb moisture from atmospheric air, they dissolve into that moisture, hence they change their physical state. So those are deliquescent substances. Another example for this deliquescent substances is sodium sulfate. Okay. And the second category is hygroscopic. If the substance already in liquid state, it does not change its physical state, but it absorbs moisture. For example, concentrated sulfuric acid. Concentrated sulfuric acid, when exposed to atmospheric air, it absorbs moisture from the atmospheric air. As a result, the water content in the concentrated sulfuric acid increases. So, the concentration of the sulfuric acid solution gradually decreases. So, here the water is the solvent in concentrated sulfuric acid. As it absorbs moisture from the atmospheric air, gradually solvent content increases. So, it becomes more and more diluted when it is exposed to atmospheric air. These are called hygroscopic substances. Those substances which absorb moisture from the atmospheric air and become diluted, those are called hygroscopic substances. If you see either drying agent, deliquescent, hygroscopic, all these substances have the property to absorb moisture from their vicinity. So here in the backward reaction, so calcium trihydrate, calcium sulfate trihydrate absorbs water molecules and converted to copper sulfate pentahydrate. Here it acts as drying agent. Okay. So in the forward reaction, copper sulfate pentahydrate loses water molecules, so it acts as a fluorescent. Let us see the conditions at which copper sulfate pentahydrate acts as a fluorescent and copper sulfate trihydrate acts as a drying agent. So before going to this, we must know about Le-Chatelier's principle. Le-Chatelier's principle. So if a chemical reaction at equilibrium state, so here either by addition of reactants or by removal of products favors forward reaction. According to Le-Chatelier principle, addition of reactants or removal of products favors forward reaction. When a reaction at equilibrium state, when you add some reactants to this, or if you remove the products from the reaction mixer, that favors the forward reaction. Similarly, addition of product or removal of reactant favors backward reaction. This is called Le-Chatelier principle. Now, for this equilibrium, at given temperature, Kp value is given like this. Okay, since these two copper sulfate pentahydrate and copper sulfate trihydrates are solids, their active masses are equal to unity. Therefore, the equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressures is related to, so here water molecules in vapor state, partial pressure of water molecules in vapor state. So therefore, the equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure Kp is equal to partial pressure of water molecules, partial pressure of water raised to the power 2. Since 2 is the coefficient before the water molecules in this balanced stoichiometric equation. Now this is known. From this you can able to calculate partial pressure of water vapor at equilibrium is equal to square root of Kp value. So already Kp value is given, that is 1.086 into 10 to the power minus 4 atm square. If you take square root of this, you will get partial pressure of water at equilibrium, and it is calculated as 1.042 into 10 to the power minus 2 atm. or you can convert it into torrs. By multiplying with 760, you will get 7.92 torr. This is the vapor pressure of water at equilibrium state. So therefore, if atmospheric pressure of water, so vapor pressure of water in atmospheric air, if this value is greater than 7.92 torr, that is the water vapor pressure at equilibrium is 7.92 torr. Okay. So if the atmospheric pressure of water vapor exceeds water vapor pressure of equilibrium, then what happens? From atmospheric air, water vapor enters into the equilibrium. So this is simple phenomena. Always gas flows from high pressure region to low pressure region. Since here in the atmospheric air, water vapor pressure is greater than water vapor pressure at equilibrium, some of the water vapor moves from atmospheric air into the equilibrium. So from atmosphere to equilibrium, water vapor flows. So as water vapor flows into the equilibrium, automatically water vapor content in the equilibrium state increases, that is product content increases. As product is added to the equilibrium state, what happens? Backward reaction occurs. So as backward reaction takes place, what happens? In the backward reaction, copper sulfate trihydrate absorbs water molecules and converted to copper sulfate pentahydrate. So copper sulfate trihydrate act as a drying agent in the backward reaction. Okay. So when water vapor of atmospheric pressure, water pressure of atmospheric air, vapor pressure of atmospheric air is greater than vapor pressure of water at equilibrium, that is 7.92 torr, then what happens? Then water vapor from atmospheric air enters into equilibrium. Automatically water vapor content in the equilibrium increases, product concentration increases, which leads to backward reaction. In the backward reaction, copper sulfate trihydrate acts as drying agent. So if vapor pressure of water in the atmospheric air is less than 7.92 torr, okay, so automatically what happens? Some of the water vapor from equilibrium moves into atmospheric air. Since water vapor pressure in the equilibrium is more than water vapor pressure in the atmospheric air, so from automatically water vapor from high pressure to low pressure atmospheric air enters from equilibrium to atmospheric air. So some water vapor is removed from the equilibrium, product is removed from the equilibrium state. As product is removed from the equilibrium, what happens? As per Ricciardi principle, forward reaction occurs. So in the forward reaction, copper sulfate pentahydrate loses water molecules. So copper sulfate pentahydrate acts as efflorescent in the forward reaction. Okay, I want to conclude one thing here. When atmospheric vapor pressure of water exceeds vapor pressure of water in the equilibrium state, then water vapor from atmosphere enters into equilibrium. Automatically water vapor content in the equilibrium increases, product content increases, which leads to backward reaction. In such cases, the formula unit of the salt having less number of water molecules absorb water molecules and converted into formula unit of the salt with more number of water molecules. Therefore, the formula unit of the salt having less number of water molecules act as a drying agent. If it is soluble in water, it is also known as deliquescent. If water vapor pressure in the atmospheric air is less than water vapor pressure in the equilibrium, then water vapor moves from equilibrium to atmospheric air. As water vapor moves from equilibrium to atmospheric air, water vapor content in the equilibrium decreases. So this product is decreased. As product concentration is decreased, what happens? Forward reaction occurs as per Ricciardier principle. In the forward reaction, the formula unit of the salt having more number of water molecules loses water molecules, so it acts as a fluorescent. So let us better understand this concept by taking another example. Look at here, sodium sulfate decahydrate. This is another hydrated salt. This is also known as Graber's salt. When exposed to atmospheric air, it loses all the 10 water molecules and converted to sodium sulfate crystals, and 10 water molecules are in vapor state. At 0 degrees centigrade, the Kp values for this equilibrium is 1.024 into 10 to the power minus 27 atm power 10. So here for this equilibrium, you can calculate vapor pressure of water at this equilibrium. So how can you calculate? From the value of Kp. Kp is related to water vapor pressure in the equilibrium, that is partial pressure of water vapor raised to the power 10. Therefore, partial pressure of water vapor equal to Kp raised to the power 1 by 10. Here the Kp value can be taken as 1024 into 10 to the power minus 30 atm power 10 whole power 1 by 10. So upon calculation you will get 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 atm. Or you can convert it into torr by multiplying with 760. You will get 1.52 torr. This is the pressure of water vapor at equilibrium state. That is the partial pressure of water vapor at equilibrium state. So what is meant by relative humidity? Relative humidity is the ratio between partial pressure of water vapor and saturated water vapor pressure. Saturated water vapor pressure means pressure of water vapor at equilibrium, equilibrium water vapor pressure, or saturated vapor pressure of water. This is also known as aqueous tension. So what is meant by relative humidity? Relative humidity. So relative humidity is the ratio between partial pressure of water vapor and pressure of saturated water vapor. That is also known as aqueous tension. Okay. So the percentage of relative humidity at this equilibrium can be calculated as, suppose at 0 degree centigrade, the aqueous tension or the pressure of saturated water vapor is determined as 4.56 torr. It is determined experimentally. So here aqueous tension depends upon temperature. As temperature increases, aqueous tension also increases. At 0 degree centigrade, the pressure of saturated water vapor or aqueous tension, it is determined as 4.56 torr. So from these values, that is partial pressure of water vapor at equilibrium and aqueous tension, you can calculate relative humidity at equilibrium state. So that is relative humidity at equilibrium is equal to, what is the partial pressure of water vapor in the equilibrium? That is 1.52 torr by 4.56 torr. This ratio gives relative humidity. And if you want to calculate percentage of relative humidity, so you have to multiply this ratio with 100. And you will get it, this is calculated at 33.33%. This is the relative humidity of this equilibrium state. If relative humidity of atmospheric air exceeds relative humidity of 33.33%, so relative humidity of atmospheric air is greater than 33.33%. That is relative humidity at equilibrium. When this will happen, okay, so water vapor pressure in the atmospheric air should exceed 1.52 torr. Then only relative humidity of atmospheric air exceeds 33.33%, because at 0 degree centigrade, the aqueous tension is constant value, that is 4.56 value. Okay, so if water vapor pressure in the atmospheric air is greater than 1.52 torr, then automatically the relative humidity in the atmospheric air is greater than 33.33. So as relative humidity in the air is greater than 33.33, automatically water vapor from atmospheric air enters into the equilibrium. So product is added to the equilibrium. So backward reaction occurs. Backward reaction occurs. In the backward reaction, what happens? Sodium sulfate acts as drying agent. Since it is soluble in water, it is also known as deliquescent. Okay. So if relative humidity of air, humidity in the air is less than 33.33%, that is the humidity at equilibrium. This happens when the vapor pressure of water in the atmospheric air is less than 1.52 torr. Automatically, the water vapor from equilibrium enters into air, atmospheric air. So water vapor is removed from the equilibrium. As product is removed, what happens? Backward reaction occurs. Forward reaction, so here. Forward reaction occurs. In the forward reaction, this Graber salt, sodium sulfate decahydrate, acts as efflorescent. It loses water molecules, so it acts as efflorescent. Sodium sulfate decahydrate acts as efflorescent. Okay. So if equilibria involving hydrated salts are given, the formula unit of the salt having more number of water molecules cannot absorb water molecules further, but it can lose water molecules. So therefore, the formula unit of the salt having more number of water molecules act as efflorescent, and the formula unit of the salt having less number of water molecules capable of accepting water molecules, so it acts as drying agent or deliquescent. So I have explained already at which conditions the formula unit of the salt having less number of water molecules absorbs water molecules, act as a drying agent, and the formula unit of the salt having more number of water molecules act as efflorescent. Okay. So I hope most of you understand well. We will meet in next video.